The case involving competing morning show radio hosts went back to the courtroom today. WIXX host Natalie Jansen filing a temporary restraining order against former KISS FM personality Richard Otis Day and another woman for online harassment. In a First Alert update, our Victoria Frazier was at the hearing. She joins us live with more details. Victoria.
Cammie, Richard Day, Natalie Jansen, and Emily Chagnon, all of the main people involved in this case were in the courtroom today. This injunction hearing reviewed a temporary restraining order requested by Jansen this spring. It stems from a social media page that Jansen says harassed her and invaded her privacy. Now, Day was on the stand testifying for about 3 hours today, admitting he lied to officers when he was originally questioned about knowing Chagnon and her running the social media page under the alias Sally Gibson. Jansen's attorney also presented several pieces of evidence to the court, including a photo of Jansen taken outside of Lambeau Field without her knowledge, which he says is what triggered the investigation into the page. According to court documents, detective found surveillance footage from the day the photo was taken of Jansen and identified Chagnon as the person who took the photo. During his testimony, Day said he wishes he had done some things differently.
You never told Ms. Chagnon,
Nope.
Stop?
Nope.
I think this is too far.
No, I did not.
You never told her, listen, this is bad,
I did not.
wrong,
No, I wish I would have.
inappropriate?
Nope, I did not.
Okay, and what's the reason you did?
I'm a wimp. I don't know. I wish I would have. I mean, I really do.
Now, Day's attorney says Day has no control over what Chagnon posted. And coming up at 5, you'll hear a voicemail that Day left a former co-worker about that social media page. And this hearing is far from over. The judge has extended testimony until another date in July. For now, reporting in Green Bay, Victoria Frazier, Action 2 News.